Hi everyone, my name is Melissa Bender and I am about to take you through a stretching routine. This one is mainly focused on the lower body and a little bit of the low back. It's a really great routine to stretch for anybody, but it's especially aimed at runners because there are certain areas that running can make really tight from the repetitive movements. So, exercise number one is going to focus on the hip or IT band. So we're going to sit on the floor, arm extended, bottom leg straight out, and then step your other leg in front of you. We're going to push through the heel of the bent leg and lift your hips as high toward the ceiling as you comfortably can. You should feel a really nice stretch right here in the outside of your hip. So just hold it there.
We're going around town.
When you're ready, relax, and you can feel free to hold these for longer. An ideal stretch should actually be about 60 seconds, which is a long time when you're holding one position. So, core pulls in, palm plants, bent foot, press through the heel, and lift those hips up as high as you can until you feel that stretch in the outside of your hip. So anytime you work your muscles, you want to stretch them because you want to keep them flexible. That's what keeps you safe and injury-free. Okay, next we have pigeon pose. So for this one, I generally like to come into it from a plank position because it's the easiest. So plank, bend one leg, put it on the ground in front of you, and then sink down into those hips. So you can do this with your hands on your hips to really help you make sure your weight is evenly distributed between both sides of your body. And then if you're ready, lean forward into it, and this is another really good one for your IT band. Tight IT band can cause knee pain and a whole host of other issues. So breathe here. When you're ready, stretch it up, look at the ceiling, then plant the hands and the back foot to lift your body back to a plank. Same thing on the other side, so left foot comes forward. Find your pigeon pose. Looking up at the ceiling, make sure your weight's evenly distributed between both sides of the body. So if you have to rock back and forth to find that, you can. And then when you're ready, lean forward. Next, we're going to go into a standing position. So come up, one last stretch here. Hands plant, feet plant. Okay, for this one, we're going to do a one leg forward fold. If this is too intense for you, do both legs on the floor, forward fold. But if you can, we're going to bend the right leg behind us, bringing our heel toward our tush. Core pulls in tight, and then reach for the floor. This is a really good one for your quads, which I'll show you another stretch for your quads, but this can be a tough area to stretch out. So lift that knee nice and high, keep the heel pulled in toward your butt, and reach toward the floor. Same thing on the other side. So plant the right foot, left heel comes in toward your butt, core pulls in tight, and forward fold. Whoop. Balance is more challenging on this side. So lift that knee high. Okay, next we have down dog. For this one, come into your plank position, core tight, hands below your shoulders, toes planted, flatten out the back, lift the hips toward the ceiling, and then drop your heels toward the floor. So you really want to stretch as you press your heels down, lift your hips up, and you should feel it through your calves, your hamstrings, your back. A really nice stretch. Look toward the belly button. Come back to plank to get out of this one. Next, we're going to do King Arthur pose, which I'm going to actually do against the wall. But you can do it without a wall if you don't have one available. So what you want to do with this one is get your knee as close to the base of the wall as you can with your foot resting against the wall. So I'm going to go into the all four position. Get my knee really close to the wall. My toes are pressing to the wall. And then from here, I'm going to come into this position where my knee is above my ankle. You can start with your hands on your hips. If you want to intensify the stretch to your quads and your hip flexors, stretch overhead and look up. Always make sure you're still breathing while you're stretching. Same thing on the other side. So come down, all four position. Other knee goes up the wall, toes against the wall. Bring your knee forward so your knee's above your ankle. Press. I already feel the stretch here. I'm going to make it a little bit more intense by adding the arms. When you stretch overhead, make sure you keep space between your shoulders and your ears. So no tightness. You want your body to be relaxed. So press the shoulders down. Look up at the ceiling. Bring the fingertips toward the wall. Okay, next we have a hip opening stretch. So for this one, I used to be really good at this one, but now my hips are tight, so I'm not, which means I need to practice it more often. So we're gonna put our knees in a position like a frog. So toes are gonna come together, knees are gonna go out to either side of your mat, heels pressed together, and then try and lay on the floor. Now, I used to be able to lay like this and get my hips on the floor. Now I can, but my butt kind of pokes up into the air. So I need to practice this one a little bit. But depending on how flexible your hips are, your feet may actually be resting on the floor right now. Obviously mine are not. But that's okay, I'm getting a really nice stretch in my hips. So you can lay like this. If you want to make it a little bit more intense, you can come up and move your body back a little bit. So now I feel it even more intensely, and my feet are a little bit closer to the ground. So just a few more stretches. From here, we're going to go into the knee down runner's lunge. So big step forward, knee stays on the ground, hips press forward, but your knee is above your ankle. So again, getting that hip flexor stretched out. Hook up with the ceiling. And then from here, we're gonna straighten the front leg and bend over. So you should actually feel a really nice stretch in your shins, in the front of your foot, and down the whole back of your leg. Breathe. And press it forward. One more time, we're gonna do the other side. So from here, again, big step forward, plant the foot, press in through the hips. And it's normal to have one side that's more flexible than the other. So don't panic if you are more flexible on one side. Straighten out the front leg. Toes stay pressing into the ground so you can get that shin stretch that I mentioned. And to stretch through your ankles. Okay, last two stretches are for the back. So lay on the mat. Pull your knees into your chest, and this actually helps release any tension in your back. You can rock really slightly back and forth or forward and backward. And then we're gonna add a twist just to really stretch it out. So stretch one leg down, hand comes to the outside of the thigh. Keep the shoulder pressing down into the floor as you twist, and look toward your hand in the opposite direction of your knee. So we're going to finish up with the same thing on the other side of the body. Pull that knee into the chest, hand comes to the outside, left arm extends, look toward your hand, and twist. Keep the shoulder down on the floor, and let the front knee drop as close to the ground as you can. Okay, so pull it back to center, one last pull of the knees, and we're stretched. Okay guys, so check out my blog. You will see this stretch as well as tons of home workout videos, over 400 now, recipes and tips for healthy living at benderfitness.com. I hope to see you there, and I'll see you tomorrow with a more intense workout, so be sure to check back. Bye.